want to talk about India in the last 11 years under the present government.
I'm a genuine believer that many good things have been done by Narendra Modi. Everyone who tells you, oh, it's a vindictive government, that's bullshit.
We have people taking over Wall Street for their Bharat. We have Ganesh Visarjan in the rivers of Europe and pouring milk on South movie stars at a movie theater in the US. Dallas is, often referred to now as Dallaspuram.
If I come to your country, I have to follow certain cultural patterns.
Yes.
I can't come there and change everything.
Yeah.
This whole nonsense about, dekho, India itna bada ho gaya hai ki Wall Street pe. Stupid. Who are you proving a point to? You're an absolute nuisance there, like you are here with all these goddamn barats which usurp traffic.
Yeah. How do you walk that fine line between staying close to the power circles yet being very critical?
I have, in the last 6 months, heaped massive abuse on the Haryana government, including its current Chief Minister and its former Chief Minister, ML Khattar. They've been respectful, they've been civil, and they've started doing their work.
There's a sharp divide between Bharat and India.
Every Muslim in our country, every Parsi, every Christian is as much as an Indian as a Hindu.
We see on one hand some, semblance of modern infrastructure. That's not translating into good civic sense.
Look at the jokers who go to our hill stations and bugger them up. I've said you should start executing these people. India is a great country. It's almost like great agricultural land which lacks fertility because we haven't tested either the soil or the soul. We have everything going for us. You tick the boxes, we have everything.
If India has so much going for it, why are millionaires leaving India in record numbers? Suhel, welcome to the Plush podcast.
Thank you.
You obviously need no introduction, but assuming we'd met for the first time and I didn't know who you were, how would you describe what you do and how would you introduce yourself?
A person with very strong opinions, reading, advise some of the finest CEOs and chairmen across the world on branding and marketing, and don't give a monkey's toss.
We've seen that too often. But Suhel, you're obviously, you've got strong opinions and you're not afraid to voice them either. How does one become Suhel Seth?
I don't think it's important to become anyone. You don't need to become Mahatma Gandhi. You don't need to become Winston Churchill. You need to be yourself.
Yeah.
The problem is that we are so worried about role models and icons and aspirational heroes that we've forgotten who we really are.
Yeah.
B, it's not important what you are, who you've become, how much money you have. If you're a Hindu, people will remember you for 13 days after you're dead because they have to be vegetarian and can't drink. After that, no one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the world. People die, no one cares.
Yeah.
So everyone who says, oh, I leave behind a legacy, meri yaad rahegi, people will think about me, no one cares. And we shouldn't even aspire for that. The problem is we are so worried about the future that we've stopped living in the present. We're so worried about how we will be remembered that we do things that are popular but not necessarily integrity-driven. Or we do things to please people.
We take ourselves too seriously?
I don't think that alone is the issue. I think we believe that, the whole world rests on our shoulders and that we are making the world go round. No one does. No one does. Please go back 4,000 years ago. Go back to Vedic history. Go back to Roman history. People talk about social media. Cicero was the founder of social media because during the time that he lived in the Roman Empire, Cicero would write 400 to 500 letters every day and send them out to citizens. The citizens would write their comments. He would then expand on those comments and send them out to another 3,000 people. If you look at architecture, which we have ruined in our country, Look at what Mohenjo-daro and Harappa did with sewage, what they did with tunnel architecture, how they fashioned homes with a central courtyard, which was not just about community, but also about cross ventilation. The point I'm making is we have left scholarship at the altar of avarice. We are not reading as much as we should. We are not debating as much as we should. Public speaking has gone for a toss. People say that why are our standards so low? Because we're not investing in ourselves. We are investing in materialism.
Why do you think we're not investing in ourselves?
Because we don't know what to do. Parenting has gone for a toss. Today, most parents are outsourcing parenting. There's a nanny, there's a tutor. In the good old days when I was growing up, to have a tutor would be a shame. It would mean that you weren't up to the mark and that you needed additional help. Today, a mother is willing to pander to the needs of a brat. हाँ बेटा ये iPhone ले लो या वो ले लो या ये ले लो. Because there is no degree of investment from the mind and the heart. We're investing from the wallet. And the day we change that descriptor and invest from the mind and the heart, we will see the revival of the India we were.
No, it's an aspirational India. India is changing and it's dynamic. And we've seen the rise of the middle class as well. And you're absolutely right. People aren't reading as much, especially in the era of social media. We're used to scrolling. What's your view on, let's assume I've turned 40 and I've made some money and I'm now financially secure, which is an aspiration for a lot of people. How do I live well? Where do I spend it?
I don't know. I have no idea, because I believe you have to spend on stuff that makes you happy. If you would ask me, I would always believe that the three things you should spend on is self-enrichment. Learn the piano, learn French, learn something. Travel. But don't travel to a Selfridges or a Saks. Travel to museums. Look for concerts, including in our country. And the third is, how to invest in happiness. In the sense, look after yourself. And I don't mean pamper yourself or go spa days and all that nonsense. But I'm saying invest in yourself in terms of self-enrichment, because you're the only unique person.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all unique. The tragedy is we all want to become cookie cutter. We want to become like him or her or this. And in that process, we have lost our uniqueness and our identity.
Interesting. Coming back to my point of, there are a lot of people, like I said, who are climbing the corporate ladder and they feel secure, but they just don't know how to cultivate good taste. What's your advice to someone to, up their game, spend well, travel well? Where would one travel to?
Again, read. If you read, I'm not saying read Gulliver's Travels, because half those jokers wouldn't have read it. But I'm saying read books on travel. See programs that are travel related. Go to places that are perhaps part of your usual, itinerary, or go to different places. For me, I love going to New York, and I do about 11 to almost 12 trips a year. But half of it is work, but the other half is watching plays. Theater for me has been a huge source of enrichment.
And you were an actor as well.
Yeah, I've done 167 plays. So I like seeing plays. I like, walking around, picking up the sounds and sights of those places. If you go to Venice, you don't have to do the usual touristy nonsense of,
gondola ride,
Murano and all that rubbish.
Yeah.
But there's so much to do.
Yeah.
See, the problem is we don't do it because we don't know.
Yeah.
And we don't know because we don't have an inquiring mind.
And we do something which someone else in our peer circle has done.
Yeah. So you will have jokers who will send you WhatsApp messages. Oh, these are the top 20 restaurants.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
I need to go to places which a local goes to and which gives me great food. I'm not interested in running into 20 celebrities, 7 of whom have paid for their celebritydom out of India.
Yeah.
So if I want fried chicken, I'm going to go to Blue Ribbon in New York, downtown, and have my fried chicken.
Yeah.
If I want great kebabs, I'll go to Houston, to Ravi, and eat my kebabs in London, if I want. So the problem is, we've stopped looking. We have become, to my mind, a non-cognitive race. So, when you have eyes, you will see. But what is it that you want to see?
Yes.
What is it that you want to capture?
Yeah.
If you have ears, you will, hear. But are you listening? So the difference between hearing and listening is a critical human differentiator.
You mentioned London and New York. Arguably, those are, in the top 5 list of destinations that people want to go to once they have the access and the means.
Go to the Arctic. Go to the Antarctic. I've been to both.
I've been to Antarctic as well.
Yeah. So I've done both the Arctic and the Antarctic. Go to places that you would otherwise not go to. Go to places that are far away or far off the beaten track. See, the other problem is a lot of people are uncomfortable being with themselves.
Yes.
And that is the enduring tragedy.
I keep saying that if you keep relying on someone else for your own goals and aspirations, you're going to miss out on 50% of the experiences on life, because not everyone's going to be available. And it's your happiness and your, it's your responsibility to nurture your curious mind.
A, B, why do you need company? Why would I go to a play with anyone? I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want someone to lean over. Oh, what did they say? No.
I think there's that social stigma of so-and-so is alone.
Utter rubbish. You see why? Because we live in a society which is populated largely by idiots who have created a mandate or a charter which they want you to fit into. Why should I fit into it?
Yes.
I go to a party, you will never see me circulate. I will stand in one place, not out of arrogance. Why should I circulate? I'm not a fan. I'll stand in one place. Milna hai milo, nahi milla. I'm very comfortable in my own skin.
But does that come with some sort of privilege or access to power net?
Not at all. I've been the same as a kid. In fact, my parents used to admonish me often enough, saying, go and meet that uncle, say hello to auntie, go and meet the...
Because common advice is, walk into a party and work the room.
Why? Work your mind. The tragedy is these guys have replaced their minds with the room. And there is no room. There is no room for you. There is no room for me. It is just a static room, just to expand the pun. So why work the room? Do you think people care? They don't give a monkey's toss about what you think. When you walk in, and especially in cities like Delhi and Bombay, you leave the party, they'll bitch you out. You've got to... See, the problem is we are all trying to fit into a mold that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And if it does, it is cerebrally fragile, it is physically warped, and it is intellectually regressive. So when you have a mold of that nature, you need to worry as to why would you like or want to fit into that mold.
Would you be able to name a few people who have obviously made it in life and are living well, and they embody a lot of the things you talk about?
There are many. I mean, I don't want to name names, but there are tons of people. People who are living right at the top of the heap.
People with good taste.
Ratan Tata used to live so well, but lived so simply.
Absolutely.
And my wife and I used to always joke that perhaps ours were the only two homes, our Goa home and his home in Bombay, which had the original Eames chair. Now, we would discuss Barcelona chairs. We would discuss minimalism. We would discuss Art Deco buildings. We were not looking at, fancy goddamn bathroom fittings or... I mean, even my apartment here, it's done minimalistically.
It was very tastefully done, though.
Yeah, but it's surrounded by books.
Yes.
My
first thing that I noticed when I walked.
So you haven't... my study has now about 87,000 books.
Wow.
That is my treasure.
Yeah.
Or you surround yourself with good art, which speaks to you.
Yeah.
And it's not important who the artist is.
Yeah.
The problem is, today we have And I know of a guy, and he's a very rich guy, lives in London. One day he said, yeah, please keep your drink here only. I said, but this is a book. उसी पे रख दीजिए ना. कौन पढ़ता है आजकल? So I said, why did you buy these books? He said, my interior designer went and bought books. That told me in one sentence about that man's character more than anything else the guy has ever said or done.
But you have a lot of wealthy people who are also hiring art consultants because they don't know what kind of art to buy.
Which, by the way, is fair. It is better to have a wise person advise you than be an idiot all your life. I have no issues with that. But surely you can't have a goddamn interior designer choose your books. Yeah. I mean, that is taking interior design to a different level of absurdity.
Yeah. So I want to talk about India. We've talked about the aspirational India. I want to talk about India in the last 11 years under the present government. Arguably, we're seeing a sense of self-assuredness, a certain confidence in the global Indian. They are proud to be Indian. And on the other hand, we're seeing some of these guys also perhaps overcompensate. We have people taking over Wall Street for their Bharat. We have Ganesh Visarjan in the rivers of Europe and pouring milk on South movie stars at a movie theater in the US. Dallas is, often referred to now as Dallaspuram. So what's your view on the global Indian? On one hand, we are confident. We have that soft power. We also follow the South Korea playbook in many ways where, they export their culture, which is what we were doing. And now suddenly we're seeing a little bit of resentment in the US and other parts of the world as well.
So there are three things happening in the world. Number one, in most pockets, you have right-wing extremism reflected and enacted upon through identity politics. Look, I have a simple belief. If I come to your country, and your country is America, I have to follow certain cultural patterns.
Yes.
I can't come there and change everything.
Yeah.
This whole nonsense about, देखो India इतना बड़ा हो गया है कि Wall Street पे हम लोग ने बारात निकाली. Stupid. Who are you proving a point to?
Yeah.
You're an absolute nuisance there, like you are here with all these goddamn barats which usurp traffic.
Yeah. There's a lack of respect for shared spaces.
That is an Indian malaise. If you talk to someone, the guy will come straight right up to your nose. We lack civility and sensitivity towards private spaces.
Yes.
A guy will come up to you, almost hug you, when you just don't want him anywhere near you. But that's who we are. So that's number one. Number two, let me tell you what Narendra Modi has done. I believe for his own reasons and because the world has evolved, the average Indian has never been more confident, has never been more self-assured, to use your phrase, and has never been embarrassed as we used to be.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. The embarrassment earlier was triggered by economic impoverishment. Has that economic impoverishment vanished totally? No. Look, every society has inequality.
Yeah.
The problem with India, which exists even today, is the impoverishment of opportunities. And let me explain. If I'm in America, no matter where the hell I am, black, white, Hispanic, I will have access to public schools, which will function. Today in India, if you live in cities, in, class 1 or class 2 tier towns, perhaps, but our villages are bereft of education, of primary health. We have deprived our citizenry because of this nonsense of socialism that was thrust upon us post-partition. And I'm not saying Nehru was at fault or Indira Gandhi was at fault or anyone was at fault. We were all at collective fault. We created the Republic of Nexuses. We allowed these jokers in politics to rule our lives. We were sucking up to power. We were crawling when asked to walk. That is changing. But that's also changing because today you have greater probity thanks to social media.
Yeah.
You have anonymity, which allows people to say things that they were otherwise scared of saying.
Yes. Everyone has a cheap smartphone and they can voice.
But let me tell you, everyone who tells you, oh, it's a vindictive government, that's bullshit. I have, in the last 6 months, heaped massive abuse on the Haryana government, including its current chief minister and its former chief minister, M.L. Khattar. Nothing. They've been respectful, they've been civil, and they've started doing their work. So people said, oh, because you said it. No, it was only I who said it, because the other guys were wanting to toe the line. You see, if you don't break an egg, you won't make an omelette. Simple.
Absolutely.
So have the balls to break that egg. But otherwise, there's going to be no omelette.
Yeah.
You will have that wobbly egg dancing on your table.
How do you walk that fine line between staying close to the power circles yet being very critical?
I'm not close to anyone other than my shadow and my wife and my child, hopefully. So anyone who tells you, oh, we are very close to Modi, we are very close to Rahul Gandhi is bullshit. B, they are not people who would want people to be close to them. Obviously, people take advantage.
Yeah.
So I'm close to no one.
Are you not afraid to rub someone the wrong way?
No, because there is no malice. There is no agenda. If I was screwing your happiness because I wanted something from him or her, then there's malice. Then there's an agenda. If I'm abusing the BJP and the Congress and the Samajwadi Party, and I've said it on television multiple times, including last night.
Yeah.
I said I detest all political parties, but I have great faith, I have great hope, and I'm a genuine believer that many, many good things have been done by Narendra Modi. Have mistakes been made? Of course. You know, on June the 9th, this year, 2025, I had a 1 hour, 55-minute meeting with the Prime Minister, one-on-one. Why? Because I've known him from 1999.
Yeah.
In fact, in 2008, having dinner with him in Gandhinagar, he told me at that time, he's saying, Suhel bhai, kal Bombay ja rahe hain. Kal kahan ja rahe hain? I said, Bombay. Tata साहब को बोलिए नैनो यहाँ ले आए. पारसी भी नवसारी आए थे पहले जब वो भारत आए थे. And I communicated the message. So I've known Modi. The only thing which I've said repeatedly is that there are a lot of people who abuse the Hindutva or Hindu agenda and are derogatory in their behavior and their utterances towards the other communities. And I detest that. And I'll tell you why. Every Muslim in our country, every Parsi, every Christian is as much as an Indian as a Hindu. B, we don't need any human being, no matter who the hell he is, to give certificates of nationalism, nationality, or Indianness to any Indian. So anyone tells you, oh, aapne ye kaha anti-Indian, bullshit. That is why I've always said, you may differ with Rahul Gandhi, and I differ with him on a lot of issues, but Rahul Gandhi's patriotism, his nationalism, his national fervor cannot, must not ever be doubted. B, that family has done wonders for our country as well. So, you know, to diss everything ki haan, just because it's a different government, unko galiyan dena shuru karo, is stupid. I've differed with Rahul Gandhi. I think his comments at times smack of idiocy of the highest order.
Yeah.
You know, India is a dead economy, India is this, India is that. He makes stupid comments. But you can never doubt his nationalism or his Indianness.
Yeah. One can argue he's just doing what an opposition leader is supposed to do.
And good for him.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when he did the Bharat Jodo Yatra in 2022 or 23, I was the first one to speak and write.
Yeah.
Because he was kind enough to invite me to join him in the Bharat Jodo Yatra. But obviously, you know, I'm not interested in any political thing.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. So give credit where it's due. Hence, give credit to Modi where it's due. No matter what you say, the economy is doing well. Now let me tell you of the dark areas. The MSME category is under a lot of stress.
Yes.
But that is COVID driven, and that impact will slowly wear off, but I think it'll wear off by around 2027, 28. Number two, what this mammoth idiot Donald J. Trump has done with tariffs has actually helped India rediscover itself.
Yeah.
Because I think Indians, and we all have the capability and the chutzpah to see that we can make things work from within our country. Also remember that we are a consumptive economy, unlike a lot of economies which are export-oriented economies.
Like China has been
Correct.
in the past.
So I'm not worried about
Yeah.
the economic pressures. Yes, there will be short-term pain, but there will be long-term gain. What are my worry areas? My worry areas are 4. Number 1, education. We teach people, but we don't allow them to be innovative, which is why we don't have a Facebook or a Google emerging from India.
You're not taught to think.
We are all by rote.
Yeah.
Ye yaad karo and spit it out.
Yeah.
Second, I'm worried about primary health. And let me tell you, by 2030, 2035, we will have an aging population which will need healthcare. Today, you have a gross mismatch between healthcare that is private, public, and the demand. Third thing that worries me is civic infrastructure. These cities are crumbling. Gurgaon is a mess. Bangalore is a shame. So we are in the throes of an urban crisis like we can't imagine. And my fourth worry is the inability of India to get rid of its bureaucratic, lethargic mindset and actually plan for 30 years hence. See, in China, when they build an airport, they measure traffic 30 years later.
I saw the same thing in Shanghai as well.
There you are.
You see the plan. You see the plan for 2071. In Mumbai, they're making the plan for 2034, which is around the corner.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
We are very poor at planning. We're very poor at forecasting. And the worst thing, which, my good friend Anand Mahindra used to use the word, but I never agreed with its celebratory wrapper. I think Jugaad is a curse on India. Because Jugaad allows you to take a shortcut. It allows you to bypass. It decries innovation. It decries science. And you say, "Arey yaar, ye to Jugaad ho hi jayega." It's the worst word, and that has pained and created long-term pain for India.
But isn't the Jugaad culture in most democracies? Because any democratically elected government is looking to kick the can down the road. And the first job of a government is to get elected for the next time.
So, no, you're right. But therefore, it doesn't make it correct.
So, yeah, they don't call it Jugaad, but essentially that's what it is.
Because governments need power and absolute power doesn't mean that they bugger up the country and its future.
Yeah.
And which is why I also agree with one nation, one election.
Yeah.
Because every time, everyone in this country is in election mode.
Yes.
So you're making stupid promises.
Yeah.
You are offering things at your and my cost.
Yeah.
Why, as a taxpayer, should I subsidize anyone?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I care for the less privileged. I believe that more and more people today in India are giving back. The young are giving back. So that is a great sign of India. But why the hell should I subsidize someone who's able-bodied, can work? Why should I subsidize him?
Yeah. We had this whole reservation thing in Mumbai as well very recently. And that's one of the arguments from someone from the Maratha community, that don't subsidize me because I belong to a certain community. Subsidize me if I'm poor. But
Absolute.
if I'm reeling after into your city in a nice car, why the hell am I asking for reservation?
Please read as much as you can about Dr. Ambedkar. And there's a lovely book written by Shashi Tharoor called Ambedkar, A Life.
Yeah.
If you go through that book in detail, you will observe that Dr. Ambedkar himself said reservation was only the opening gamut if life in India was a chessboard. It wasn't meant to stay.
Yeah.
It has been used perniciously,
Misused.
by government after, which is why I said perniciously,
Yeah.
by government after government,
Yeah.
to actually create a vote bank. In the process, they've destroyed everything. And I'll give you an example. With the hugest respect that I have for our Dalit brethren, for the less privileged, would you like to be operated upon at All India Institute Medical Sciences by the best surgeon or by a surgeon who's there by virtue of his caste. We need to isolate certain professions.
Yeah.
You cannot have a nuclear scientist join ISRO or join, the Baba Atomic Research Center
Yeah.
because of caste reasons, whatever the caste may be.
Yeah.
But we've put everything on the back burner. Today, it's about the caste. And let me tell you what's happening. People within the caste who are brilliant
Yeah.
and who are performing brilliantly are also being tarred by the same brush. That is my worry.
Yeah.
It is as odious and as stupid as when women are given Women Entrepreneur of the Year. Why not? You should give them Entrepreneur of the Year.
I know several women who take that in a very offensive manner.
As they should.
Yeah. Yeah.
As they should.
I don't deserve a seat just because I'm of a certain
Correct.
gender. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And which is why I'm saying that when you look at reservation per se, it is antithetical to merit.
Yeah.
No society can balance reservation and merit. You have to choose.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned infrastructure, and that's something that I'm very passionate about as well. There's a really interesting book that's just come out called Breakneck, and it talks about how China is run by engineers, and it's a China versus US comparison, and US is run by lawyers. In India as well, India is run by bureaucrats. We see on one hand some, semblance of modern infrastructure, but that's not translating into good civic sense.
So there are two issues here.
Yeah.
You're being kind. We have the worst civil engineers in India.
Yeah.
These jokers can't put a bloody bridge together. You will have bridges collapsing, which, by the way, happens in some countries. But here, it's like repeatedly.
The road
conditions.
Yeah.
Nitin Gadkari is promoting ethanol, which will actually reduce fuel efficiency by 20%. But no one is talking about it. Because you can't troll a Nitin Gadkari because he's from the BJP. But what he's doing is dangerous for India. And it's about time he's called out on this nonsense. A. B. You tell me about our civic infrastructure. It's miserable. Look at the way you have to reach an airport.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare. Look at the Gurgaon-Delhi Expressway. Nightmare.
It took me 3.5 hours from Greater Noida to Gurgaon.
There you are.
Yesterday, yeah. Yeah.
So, point I'm making is we have made the lives of the average citizen miserable.
Yeah.
The citizen doesn't have power, doesn't have water, doesn't have roads, doesn't have security. What the hell are you paying taxes for?
Yeah.
Now, you could live in a DLF, almost ghetto-like, and be isolated. But once you step out, you're part of the milieu as you should be.
Yeah.
And the reason why I took cudgels with those chaps on Gurgaon, I could have kept quiet. I'm living here. It's very beautifully managed.
Yeah.
DLF does a great job. I could just sit tight.
Yeah.
Or I could say, you jokers, you'll have destroyed Gurugram, which is supposed to be a smart city, which houses some of the finest companies in India, whose CEOs live around this area.
Yeah.
They have no idea about how much they're destroying brand India. That's my worry.
Perhaps the BJP has learned a lesson from the India Shining campaign 20-odd years ago, where they focused too much on urban India.
2004,
right? Versus today, one can argue that you and I come way down the pecking order, even though we pay our taxes. But they've tried to solve basic issues, infrastructure issues, for those who've never had it in the last 7 years.
Let me tell you, there you're right. When Modi launched Swachh Bharat, everyone laughed. And I said to many people, it is the finest program. Why? If you aren't clean, if your surroundings aren't clean, you are a huge pain for tourism, for civic living.
Yes.
You create health problems. So I think Swachh Bharat was fantastic.
But do we implement it today?
Now you don't expect Narendra Modi to go to every house because, as I said, civility and civic sense is parentally managed and taught. हम क्या करते हैं?
But if the parents don't know it themselves,
they are scoundrels.
Yeah.
What do?
Yeah.
They will throw plastic out of their cars.
Yes.
You go to some of the richest homes in Delhi and Bombay. In front of the house, it's all clean. In their back lanes or service lanes, it's full of dump. It's dumped with gunk.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a concept of being civic and civil and aware of the environment.
Right.
Look at the jokers who go to our hill stations and bugger them up.
Yeah.
I've said you should start executing these people. In our country, the punishment is also so weak.
Yeah. 500 rupees ka fine.
You should execute. I'm saying the day you execute one PWD engineer, hang him from the bridge that has collapsed, India will change. But we'll never hang these jokers.
You know, there's a really interesting observation I've made. When someone goes abroad, or let's say they go to some part of India which is nice and clean for a change.
They'll behave.
But what do they say? इतना अच्छा लगा कि मुझे लगा कि मैं इंडिया में ही नहीं हूँ. So the subtext of that is outside of India is good, India is bad.
Look at Calcutta. Calcutta, by the way, for those who don't know enough of history, Calcutta was the city
that's really close to you.
Yeah, which had the first metro.
Yeah.
You go to Calcutta's metro, it is spick and span. Every Bengali, every Calcuttan thinks of that metro as his or her own property.
Yeah.
But the rest of Calcutta,
Yeah.
although I have to say to Mamata Banerjee's credit, it has cleaned up a lot
Yeah.
from where the commies left it.
Yeah.
But the point is, if we want to do things, we can.
Yeah.
Look at what Gift City is doing in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
It's a shining example of how civic infrastructure can be built and maintained.
So we have the potential.
Look at Indore.
We just don't have the willpower.
We don't have the accountability.
Yeah.
The problem in India is not innovation or willpower or money.
Yeah.
It is accountability.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah. But it's not a light switch, right? So things aren't going to change overnight. How does one teach accountability or civic sense from a young age? What sort of
Education, which is why I told you the first worry point I have is education.
Yeah.
When you have all these jokers going to these fancy schools
Yeah.
and comparing notes about which bloody iPhone they have or which brand of clothing they're wearing,
Yeah.
you know where their priorities are.
Yeah.
So when you bring up your children in an atmosphere of entitlement is a byword for abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse of power, abuse of privilege, abuse of status.
Yeah.
So that's what leads to all the other problems then.
Right. There's also a very evident lack of empathy, one can argue.
Again, emergent from all of that.
Yeah.
But
मैं कैसे करूँ ये?
see, many years ago, I was at the airport and one member of parliament was asking this security chap, जानते हो मैं कौन हूँ? So I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, if you don't know who you are,
Yeah.
how will he?
Yeah.
Like,
Correct.
punning on this.
Correct.
But that sense of entitlement is all over.
Yeah.
You see these jokers go around in, red light cars, in, cavalcades.
Yeah.
Even when no one needs that. A, B, a lot of the people in Delhi and Bombay who don't need security.
Yeah.
See, there are some powerful industrialists and all who are always,
Yeah.
who need security across the world.
Yes.
I've seen young chaps who even the terrorists will not remember, or a hijacker or a kidnapper will not care for.
Yeah.
They're walking around with security guards.
Yeah.
Because it's become a fashion symbol. It's become a
False sense
status
of,
symbol.
power.
Importance.
Yeah.
You see, that's why, मेरे पास 3 security गाड़ी है.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the global Indian. The Indian diaspora, I'm talking about the US primarily, was a model minority up until very recently. Invisible, hardworking. In fact, Indian Americans are the wealthiest minority in the US. We're seeing a lot of pushback thanks to Donald Trump now. We're also seeing a lot of cultural resentment. And I thought it was, we were going on the right track. We were, India was shining, India was rising. They loved our movies, they love our food. And suddenly we are seeing this pushback. What do you think has changed in the last few months?
So let me, because I go there so often.
Yeah.
A, there is no pushback. There are certain people from the Indian community, as there are from any community,
Yeah.
who have not perhaps served themselves well by behaving in the manner they do. The most recent case being of Ashley Tellis.
Yes.
So you're seeing this. Earlier it was Rajat Gupta, Anil Kumar.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about, is the Indian community being looked down on? Let me tell you, America is a fragile nation with a fragile intellect.
Yeah.
They only allow for innovation in one part of the country. The rest of them are like, they're,
There's a whole voice between New York and LA and San Francisco.
crude. Middle America is tasteless. They are like, the worst.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about validation from America.
Yeah.
But look, the global Indian has always been hardworking because they had to go and make a life for themselves.
Yeah.
Much like people between 1947 and 1950 who migrated from now Pakistan to India.
To India. Yeah.
They had to do the same.
Yeah.
So hard work is the lowest common denominator. What we are seeing today is a lot of respect for Indians and the acceptance. But the problem with us in India is that any Indian who does successfully well,
Yeah.
they go Indian. At times, that person has done well in spite of you or in spite of the country.
Yeah.
And rather than course correct internally,
Yeah.
we believe everything is fine with India because Satya Nadella is heading Microsoft.
Yeah.
Or because Pichai is heading Google.
But they needed that ecosystem to succeed as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point is that India is a great country. It's almost like great agricultural land which lacks fertility because we haven't tested either the soil or the soul.
Right.
We haven't watered it with alacrity and with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with India. We have everything going for us. Everything. You tick the boxes, we have everything. We have a 7,200 kilometer coastline. We don't have one goddamn marina. That tells you where our priorities are.
Right. But if India has so much going for it, why are millionaires leaving India in record numbers?
Now, I'm so glad you asked me that.
Yeah.
90% of the jokers who are leaving are economic fugitives. Because they know अब इस सरकार के अंडर और successive governments, no matter which dispensation, वो वाली दाल नहीं गलने वाली.
Yeah.
See, any society which has two changes, economic and age reversal. Age reversal means a younger lot becomes even more relevant.
Yeah.
You will not be able to do the crony capitalist shit that you were doing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That will bring about change.
Mm-hmm. We have an India and we have a Bharat, right? So there are a lot of these people who are involved in crony capitalism, and one can argue it's even happening today. Some people would argue it's happening today as well. But there's a sharp divide between Bharat and India, much like there's a sharp divide in the US as well. We just saw that with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the right versus the left. And we're kind of seeing that within India in a different sense. Of course, you have the right and the left, but you also have a very sharp Bharat versus India divide. And Bharat is now in the hot seat.
There is no such thing. I know where you're coming from, and people say, Bharat, Jai Shankar will say, Bharat, India.
Yeah.
We're the same, yeah.
Yeah.
We're a civilizational legacy. Call us anything.
Yeah.
You think if I say Hindustan, hum badal jayenge? No.
Yeah.
If I say, Rahul, you're Indian, will you be any different? No. If I say you're Bharatiya, will you be any different? No.
There's a perception.
These are bloody tactics of divisiveness, of political power play. It means nothing.
There's a perception that the opposition party, and I didn't mean to make this a very political podcast, but I can't help but chat about this with you. Those were guys who came with privilege, with fancy education, with money, and suddenly you have these grassroots guys who've come into power, and that's given a voice to a lot of people who didn't have that privilege.
Correct. So that is, India has changed.
Yeah.
So whether you call it Bharat, India, Hindustan, doesn't matter. But India has changed.
And that's reflected in our movies as well.
Absolutely, because you have replaced entitlement and privilege with a certain level of merit. Bhai, aap jitni bhi gaaliyan de do Modi ko.
Yeah.
He was elected and he's not come through the back door.
Yeah.
I loved Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Yeah.
I think history will judge him formidably well. But he was a nominated prime minister.
Yeah.
In his time, Sonia Gandhi was in power and he was in office.
Yes.
Today, Modi is in power and Modi is in office. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And which a lot of people are unwilling to stomach. And look, all said and done. And now let me tell you, where were we? The Nandan Nilekani inspired unique identity program was just that. What did Modi do? He smartened it up.
Yeah.
Today, we are a brilliant digital economy.
Yeah.
I don't have to carry cash in India.
Yeah. No, UPI has just been brilliant as well. The whole tech stack.
Give credit where it's due. Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier, when he said made in India, everyone scoffed. Today, people are making in India.
Yeah.
Startup India, when he took office, we had 3 unicorns. Today we have 192.
120 or
192.
okay.
So, point I'm making is there is progress.
Yeah.
We are a nation by and large of whiners. We are always unhappy. We always look for problems in every solution.
Yeah.
You tell an Indian, देखो आज सूरज इतना चमक, कहाँ चमक रहा है यार? इतनी pollution है, कहाँ चमक रहा है?
Yeah.
You ask an Indian,
Mm-hmm.
भैया अब देश ठीक चल रहा है, अरे घंटा चल रहा है.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be the richest to the poorest. They'll all have the same feeling. We are such a greed-driven country. We want more, we want more, we want more. Even our relationship with some of our gods is transactional. मैं तिरुपति जाऊंगा, मैं थोड़ा सोना दूंगा या मैं वो
बाल बनवा लूंगा,
ये दूंगा, पर भगवान मेरे लिए क्या करेंगे? अरे यार, if your purpose of pilgrimage is a transaction, that in itself tells you what kind of a person you are.
Yeah, sure. A lot of people now are in fact praying that they're able to get their H-1B visa as well. So that's transactional as well. What's your view on the current crisis, if at all, if I may call it that?
I don't think it's a crisis, and there I have to say, it is America's sovereign right to determine A, who will come into their country, B, what kind of visa.
Yeah.
It's their right.
Yeah.
We're exercising the same right with illegal Bangladeshi citizens.
Yeah.
So if we can do this in our country, why are we begrudging Donald
But there's a difference between illegal Bangladeshis coming to India and legal qualified Indians wanting to go overseas.
But the right of the sovereign to exercise that right remains.
Right.
So
70-odd% of the H-1B visas are held by Indians.
So that's America's issue.
Yeah.
But the Americans have to decide कितने लोग आएंगे या कितने लोग नहीं आएंगे. You and I can't decide. But where I see the opportunity is there will be less brain drain.
Yeah.
But how will you retain these people? Which is why you need to fix the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Which is why I mentioned education as being my biggest worrying point.
Yeah. So India is a shining light, one can argue, in the subcontinent. We've seen a lot of upheaval in Nepal, Pakistan, of course, and also Bangladesh.
Sri Lanka
as well, right? How would you say the Indian government is navigating this crisis, if at all?
See, we keep abusing ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, ye nahi. Our pillars are intact. The executive, the judiciary, the media, and what I would call...
Is the media intact?
Yeah, civil society. Look, there was Godi media during the emergency. There was Godi media during the Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. Just because you call them Godi media or a derogatory word like prostitutes and all doesn't change things.
Yeah.
Point is, Khushro Irani, I don't know if you ever heard of him. C.R. Irani was the managing director of The Statesman, which was a venerable newspaper, and they buggered it now.
Yeah.
He famously said the press in India is as free as it chooses to be. It's a calling on the press. Today you have Karan Thapa, you have The Wire, you have Scroll, all existing, all news.
Yeah.
No one is shutting them down. News laundry. So, ये कहना कि भाई अरे हमारे देश में मीडिया तो बिक गया है, मीडिया खत्म हो गया. कैसे खत्म हो गया भाई? अरे media is owned by big businesses. Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post. Have you ever shouted about that? No.
Yeah.
So, we are too quick to judge and misjudge and lay blame on ourselves without analyzing both contextually the historicality or the logicality.
Yeah.
So history and logic have taken a backseat.
You know, India is right at the center where in this multipolar world, right? On one hand, you've got the Quad. On the other hand, you have BRICS. You've had the war in Ukraine and now the war in Israel as well. And we've obviously chosen our own, interests. How hard has it been for the current government to navigate this new...
It's been tough.
...order?
It's been tough.
Yeah, especially with the tariffs as well.
Absolutely. Look, all said and done, from 2019, Modi's had a tough ride.
Yeah.
You had COVID. You had global headwinds economically.
Yeah.
You've had the tariffs regime.
Yeah.
The silver lining on that really dark cloud is Trump will not serve yet another term, thank God.
Who's trying to change that, by the way?
He can't. No matter what he does, he can't. So he can do whatever the hell he wants. So I believe we have done very well, not reasonably, very well, given the constraints. And remember one thing, Rahul.
Yeah.
This is a difficult country to govern.
Absolutely.
Why? Because we are not a country, we are a continent. Number two,
yeah.
an Indian, and I'm a very proud, devout Indian, but we can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You tell an Indian, beta, line mein khada ho, kyun? Yeah. But when we are abroad, we'll stand in a line.
Yeah.
So it's a damn difficult country to govern. You know, as Kamalnath once famously said in Davos, he says, we are the world's largest democracy, driven and at times governed by acute chaos. And if you remember, I think it was Toffler who wrote the book on chaos. So we're not an easy country to manage or to govern or to run.
Yeah.
And I always say, and we'll end with that, India is like the bumblebee. See, aerodynamically, the bumblebee is not supposed to fly, because of its size. But the bumblebee doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So the bumblebee every morning wakes up and flies happily.
Yeah.
So if you and I were to ever do a PERT chart and say, these are the 10 things that are wrong with India, how the hell is India succeeding?
Yeah. Chal raha hai, chalne do.
But we don't care.
Yeah.
So I've said, with due respect to every religious person, when the Ram temple was inaugurated, I said on television, I said, it's too late. So someone asked me why. I said, bhai, sadiyon se ye desh Ram bharose chal raha hai. Aaj aapko Ram Bhagwan yaad aaye. We should build this temple ages ago.
That's an interesting one. But Suhel, I want to end with a few fun questions.
Sure.
Yeah. I know you were on a deadline as well. Suhel, let's talk about 5 destinations an aspiring, upwardly mobile Indian must visit.
Kerala. Just to see how we've created and crafted composite culture. You must visit New Zealand to talk about peace, value, quality of life. Italy, and within Italy, my favorites are Venice and Rome. Florence as well, if you're going to Lajatico to listen to Bocelli's annual concert. So I've done 3. America, of course, but there's so much in America.
Yes.
Go to New Orleans, go to Vermont, go to odd places rather than the usual stuff.
Yeah. National parks as well.
Go to national parks.
Yeah.
Go to Kingstorm, which is a sculpture park right outside New York, an hour's drive.
Yeah.
What else? And then do China. Do Hong Kong. Hong Kong to tell you how change happened. China to see how every day they're imagining change and implementing.
Yes, if you go to Shenzhen, for example, it's
outstanding.
Brilliant what they've done. We should walk from Hong Kong to Shenzhen, technically.
Yeah.
Okay. The most overrated marker of success, of sophistication. The most overrated marker of sophistication.
Must be a Birkin or one of these wretched bags.
Okay. The most uncivilized thing you've seen at a dinner party.
A famous photographer who I will not name, who at a friend's house, who picked up a piece of prawns which was soaked in black bean sauce, ate it, and then wiped his hands on a white sofa.
Disgusting.
Son of a,
Yeah. No. I've seen a couple of those myself.
Yeah.
The book every ambitious 30-year-old should read before they buy their first Rolex or Mercedes.
Shakespeare. Read everything about Shakespeare and by Shakespeare.
By Shakespeare.
See, and I'm not saying this because it's antiquated. Hamare zaman mein. There are things that Shakespeare has said which hold true to this day.
Yeah.
We keep saying, oh, Modi, I've always used that phrase of Mark Antony qua Brutus. When he asks Brutus, why did you stab Caesar? He says, it's not that I loved Caesar less, but I loved Rome more. That tells you about the definition of nationalism/patriotism.
Since you love Shakespeare, I would have expected you to mention Stratford-upon-Avon as one of the destinations to visit.
Not needed.
Shakespeare's house.
No, I mean, that way,
Our
you
museum.
that way you can go to Baker Street and see Sherlock Holmes' house.
Yeah.
See, those are tourist trappings.
Yeah.
But you want to immerse yourself in Shakespeare, see every play of Shakespeare that Derek Jacobi has acted in.
Mhm.
Go to the Barbican. Do those kind of things. 2 months ago, I saw Denzel Washington in Othello, and before that, I'd seen him in Caesar, where he played Brutus.
Yeah. Where was this?
In New York. Brilliant. Brilliant. I've seen Al Pacino play Shylock in Merchant of Venice, and I've done 3 versions of Shylock.
Yeah.
And, we met at a person's house in New York, blah, blah, blah. And he invited me to the play. And after the play, we went to something called the Irish Pub, which is on 46th between 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
And I said, I've done 3 versions of Shylock. You're already short. How the hell did you shrink yourself? And Al Pacino looks at me and says, it's always about the shoulders when you're getting up. I said, means? He says, when you're getting up, you get up like this. So you feel even shorter. Those are the evenings I'm blessed to have spent.
Yeah. I just read his book, by the way, Sonny Boy. Yeah.
Read. I mean, I've spent time in Calcutta with the Mrinal Sen. Evenings.
Yeah.
With R.K. Lakshman, the cartoon who was one of my dearest friends.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed that one had the opportunity to meet these people, spend time with them, and understand the world through their eyes.
Right. So, to round this off, if there was a piece of advice that sounds elitist but is actually true, what would that be?
Read until you die. And there's nothing elitist about it.
Great.
Just keep reading. People think I'm nuts when I say this, but it's important.
Yeah.
If you can't immerse yourself in a book, you will never have context, you will never have a sense of purpose, and you will never belong.
And you will never fuel that imagination.
Never will.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the Lake District is the Lake District.
In England.
It's not for any other reason because of daffodils. Daffodils by Wordsworth brought it alive.
Yeah. I've visited his home, actually. It's a beautiful...
see, I'm saying I'm going beyond that.
Beyond, yeah.
I'm going beyond the tourist
Yeah.
itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to visit many places, but many places you will be part of if you read.
Yeah. That's a great note to end this on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And Suhel, no hamper to be won here, but we do have something from our collection for those who've already won in life. This is a plush gift set for those.
Oh, nice.
From one traveler to another.
I love it.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I look forward to connecting with you again.
Done.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.